Well, hello. How are
Hello,
you today,
hello. Doing
Paprika?
great. How are you?
Welcome to Season Convo.
This is
Oh my
Convo,
goodness, we are
episode
on
number.
episode 8. Can you believe it? Episode 8 already. I can't believe it. Welcome to Season Combo. Welcome to our listeners. Welcome to our subscribers. Welcome to those that are coming in and getting to know us. We so much appreciate you, and we're so humbled. We are excited for what this episode is going to provide. Paprika, this one is going to be fun. What you think?
It's gonna be a good
It's
one.
going to be
Gonna
a
be a
good
good one.
It's gonna be a
Buckle
good
up.
one. Buckle up
Buckle
and
up.
get ready to go. Get ready for this ride down this roller coaster. So let's do it. So the title of this episode is going to be Conversations That We Should Have. Say what? What
Juicy.
conversations should we have? Paprika.
Juicy.
Juicy conversation. Yes, it's gonna be juicy. It's going to
Juicy.
be some juicy conversations. So, conversations that we should have. And sometimes we don't realize how important those conversations are. So,
Yeah.
Paprika, we've been friends for over 40 years.
Oh, gosh.
I know, right?
Sorry. How? How?
I don't feel like I've been here that long.
Hold on. How?
I don't feel like I've been here that long. Have I been here that long? What?
Fix my face. How? Okay. Yeah, it has been a long time.
Oh my goodness. OMG. But let me tell, okay, so conversations that we should have. So
Mhm.
do you want to kick off the topics of what conversations should we have?
So let's start
Mm,
off with the conversation of, for an example, for instance, if you see my significant other outside
What?
where he should not be,
What?
do I want you to tell me?
Do you want me to tell you? I
Yes.
know you want me to tell you because you know why? Because we've had that conversation
Yes.
about it. So, yes, of course. Now, would everybody want to know if their significant other was doing something they had no business doing, and then you decide that, hey, I saw it. Do I need to tell my friend?
Yes.
Or do I
You as
not?
my bestie needs to tell me.
Right, right.
Yes.
Well, could it backfire?
Yes, it could.
It had examples. I have examples of backfiring. I have examples. So now, for many, many years, of course, you'd be friends with someone, and you would think that they would want to know if
Mhm.
they observed something that their significant other has done that you feel that they shouldn't be doing, or
Mhm.
shouldn't be places they shouldn't be, or people they shouldn't be with, or whatever the case may be. And you express and you say, I want to tell you something. And the thing about it is, it's going to be a hard conversation. And we shy away from conflict conversations, right? What should I say? Not conflict, but hard conversations. We kind
Mhm.
of shy away from them. So because we shy away from them, sometimes we kind of question, should we say or should we not say something in regards to what you've seen? Well, I have an example where I did say something, but it was so many close people that were involved in the situation that it entailed that it took me a minute to decide, okay, if I say something, then it's going to be, everybody's going to get upset. People are going to get hurt. And the
Mhm.
thing about it is, people get hurt, then you're going to have to deal with that. And you really don't want to hurt people's feelings. And you don't I know we can go on about this topic along because what people do sometimes is not to hurt other people, it's just
Mhm.
who they are. But anyway, I will say when I made the friend that I had and I told the story to end up getting mad at me, thinking that I was trying to break up their relationship.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
I'm like, what? Why would
No.
anybody want to do that?
Right, right, right.
Why would anybody want to do that? So from
Mhm,
that experience, and that was many, 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 many years ago. Um,
mhm,
but from that experience, I have always been cautious of sharing things I know or things I see.
mhm,
And because of that, the conversations that we should have with your friends is to know, would you want to know? Would you want to know if I found out, seen something that your significant other was doing?
mhm.
Would you want to know? Would you want me to tell you, or would you not want to know? Because, maybe it doesn't matter, to you. What they do is what they do. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
no,
with that, Pepperika,
yes.
tell me what you
Mm-mm.
think. Tell me what
Yeah, please tell me. Yes.
you
And especially now, yes, please tell me. I'm just going to say that. Yeah, as my bestie, I expect you to do that. And in my life that I'm in now, it my reaction would be totally different. You know what I mean?
right.
You know, about 20 years ago, it wouldn't be, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
20
I
years ago, it wouldn't be, but
I
now
get it.
if it were to happen, not to say that, we're not speaking that into an existence.
No, 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 no.
Yes, I would want you to tell me. Out of, being a bestie, I think you should. And I want you to.
Right,
I want you
right.
to.
So I think when we were talking about this previously, when we had the conversation is, somebody might not want to know, but
Yeah.
give me the opportunity to say whether I want to know or don't
Mhm.
want to know, right?
Yeah.
Which is why
Mhm.
you need to have the conversation in the first place.
Mhm.
Excuse me, because there's so many things that you might see your significant other do,
Mhm.
or you might see or experience something that you feel like, I don't know if I need to say something about that or not.
Yeah.
If you have the conversation up front with your friend, then you know what the expectation is from your friend,
Yeah.
right?
Very important. Yes.
Very important, because I'm gonna tell you, some people are like, well, no, I don't even want to know. But and that's okay too.
Mhm.
If that's your thing that you don't want to know, but I would prefer you to tell me that, because then I won't tussle with it. Because don't you know, you tussle with
Yeah.
trying to figure out whether or not you should say it or you shouldn't say it,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, that's a thing.
It is a thing.
That is a serious thing. And you know what? Are you, just so that I know, Peperica, are you
Mhm.
is your mic on the live?
Uh, it is now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure, because I
Mhm.
didn't know if they could hear you on
Oh,
the live. You're
maybe.
good, but they could
Okay.
probably hear you from my feet. But anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, so have you had that experience on your end, that you told somebody something, and then, you know, you kind of regretted saying it?
Yes. I will definitely say yes because their reaction
Isn't
was
the
not,
reaction, you be thinking the reaction would be something else, but then
yeah,
when you when you actually go through the conversation, you're like,
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
expecting that reaction.
yeah. That
And
reaction is totally
yeah,
different.
it's almost like sometimes I feel, well, the time that I had to mention, I felt like it was, I can't believe you telling me this. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yep.
well, would you not want me to tell you, because I do care enough that I want you to know? Because,
Mm-hmm.
if the shoe was on the other foot,
Yeah.
goes back to what we talked about. Would you want to know? Yes, I would
Yeah.
want to know. Let me do, no matter how I handle the situation, let me handle the situation how I'm going to handle the situation. Whether
Exactly.
I, whether I decide, whatever, however way that is, I'm just going to say, because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different ways you can handle it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not be judged, because that's another thing. The conversation needs to be had. Hey, by the way, this is how my relationship is. And as my friend, you cover me. You don't judge me. We don't judge each other. We never have. Um, but we make sure that we're there to encourage each other through different things that we go through in life. And we
Correct.
just use that as an example because, you know, it's a true thing. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
have friends and, you know, things happen. Not everything works out all the time. And some people just be who they are. I'm just gonna be real. They just
That's
be who
it.
they are.
That's it.
And we just want to make sure you have the conversation with your friend up front, not when it happens, but before it happens. So, or if it ever happens, the thing is knowing what to do if it ever happens,
Yes.
because then you're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that conversation with your friend and you and her or you and him or however, you know, it goes for guys too. You know, would you want your dude to tell you if you saw your girl out? I don't know where this ball
Yeah.
coming from, but I ain't nobody's ball. You ain't
Uh,
paying nobody.
uh-uh.
Not. But so what do you all think? What do you think? Would you want to know? Would you want your girlfriend or would you want your bud to tell your brother to tell you? Would you want
Mhm.
them to tell you if they seen something going on? I'm pretty sure you would, but
Yeah.
you know,
Same.
the thing about it is it's important to have that conversation up
Mhm.
front.
It is
What else
very.
you got about that? Anything else you want to talk about that one?
Nope, I think you we captured it all.
We
Um,
captured that one.
yeah, we did. That was a good one.
I think it's a conversation that must be had. It goes back
I
to,
agree.
you know, if you think about things that in a relationship, whether it's a relationship or friendship,
Mm-hmm.
things that you would want to talk about that you don't want somebody to assume.
Yeah.
You want to have those conversations. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not assuming how you would handle those conversations moving forward. So
Yeah.
the next,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think it's a mature, I think it's it's a mature thing for sure. Like I said, 20 years ago, I'd probably be like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Even though I might have want to know what might have wanted to know, but
I would
yeah.
have found out anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, Inspector Gadget for sure. Yes.
I would have found out anyway.
I'm gonna
But
break the code.
anyway,
I'm gonna break the code, yes.
you can break the code. My instincts is like
Yeah, you're right. And you're
on
right, your
point. Your
instincts.
instincts
Yeah,
know
you
some,
know,
and then you
know.
know sometimes you know, especially when you're in a relationship, most of the time when somebody tell you something, they're not too surprised because if something's off, they know something's off before you
Mm-hmm.
even tell them, right?
Yep.
So important thing is to have the
Have
conversation.
the conversation. You're right. That's the main thing.
So the other, just going in line with conversations that we should have. Another conversation I think that's very important to have, which we learned over our seasoned years in various seasons of our life,
Mm-hmm.
is being upfront and having upfront conversations with your partner, right?
Ah,
I
yes.
mean, there is nothing that should be assumed guessed by your partner. I remember having a conversation. I remember conversations you and I had when we were dating.
Mm-hmm.
And because I said I was never going to not have this conversation up front because your time is important. Your
Mm-hmm.
time is important. It's good to date, don't get me wrong. You can date and you know, you kind of fill out, you know, what you want in your life, what
Mm-hmm.
type of relationship you want. But once you've gone through those dating periods and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of settled in what you're willing to accept and not accept, um, those conversations need to be had day one.
Right.
Day one was this is how my conversation went. Day one is this is this is who I am. I'm only going to be who I am. I'm not going to change who I'm going to be. However, I'm ready to settle down. This is
Mm-hmm.
where I'm going. I've already been here. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
here. These are my goals. This is what I won't accept. This is what I will accept. And if you ain't down with that, don't waste my time.
Don't waste my time.
Don't waste my time. Okay. But yeah,
No.
so we had, I mean, the conversation, of course, was a lot. smoother than that. But
Mhm.
it was a conversation that needed to be had so that, you know, after you've been through things in your life and your relationship, you kind
Oh,
of,
yeah.
you know what you want.
It gets you there. Get you to that point.
It gets you there, it gets you to that
Yep.
point. You know exactly what you want. You know what you want to lay on the table and say, hey, you know, these are the things I like, these are the things I don't like,
Yep.
these are my pet peeves,
Mhm.
you know, yeah, I like take my shoes off here, and you know, if that's gonna be a bother to you, let me know. And things you can work through. But the thing about it is getting those things out up front, having the conversation up front. The
Mhm.
time you take to date, I remember when we first, and you're like, oh, you don't tell all that. You just kind of go on a date, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, you go on a date and you see if you're going to continue to go on a date, right?
Mhm.
But then once you start feeling like, okay, I'm really into this person. Let me go
Mhm.
ahead and go on this date, and then I'm going to see how this goes. But then I really like them. So let me say what I'm here for, what I'm looking for, what are my
Mhm.
expectations. And that conversation is a hard conversation to have. You know, it's to say, you know, look, I've already been here, done that.
Mhm.
This is where I want to be. And, you know, if we're not on that same page, just let me know, you know, so
Yeah.
that I know how to move forward and where
Mhm.
this is going to take us. So what do you think, and how do you foresee that in your world, Paprika?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. You know, all the stuff and things that we've been throughout our life, it gets you to this point.
It does.
You know, it gets you here, and and I always say God brought my husband at the
Yes.
perfect time for me when I was absolutely, got all of it, all those things out to where we can have that conversation and be like, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. Well, he had the conversation with me. He's like, if you're gonna get on this roller coaster, you're gonna ride it, okay?
Mickey, he was me, and you,
Yeah, he was
yeah,
you.
and you were, yeah, we split road. I
Yeah,
forgot.
Mickey is definitely you when it's that. He's like, okay, we're gonna get on this ride
This is
and
what we're
we're
gonna
gonna
do. And
go.
it's gonna be a fun roller coaster ride. We can have it
It
together. We can grow
it
together.
is.
We can enjoy each other. But hey, we ain't here to play no games. You know what I'm
But
saying?
right, and it was
Games is over. The
games
games
are
is over.
over,
If we
and
don't know what we want by the time we get to this point, time is not on our side, and time is not promising
yep.
nobody.
And I would have to say, out of all the relationships that I've had, that that was the
That
really
was
first one
the
where I've
nail in the
actually
coffin.
had
Just
that
like,
conversation about how this is gonna go. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, it's definitely, definitely, that's one of the things I tell younger generations, you know, it depends on how much time you want to take in figuring out
Yeah.
what you want. You know what I'm saying? You can date and you can figure that out, but time don't wait for nobody.
Yep, it sure
And
doesn't.
you know, our Mr. Rights, our soulmates, our love bugs,
Mhm.
our one our chocolate bars, or whatever you want to call them,
I
our
want to the right
sugars,
time.
they came at us the right time.
Uh-huh. Yes, they
And
did.
and the thing is, you know, being able to have the conversation, which some people will be fearful to have conversations like that too soon, because
Yeah.
they think people will judge it. My thing, if you're gonna judge me, I need to know you're gonna judge me up,
Yeah.
because then I done took all my time and wasted all this time, and then you gonna be what? I'm gonna
Hmm.
tell you everything and that we need to talk about.
That's right.
And one thing, conversation that I don't know about how you feel about this, but what do you feel about conversations about your past?
We are in the future. We're moving on. We don't
I'm
need to
with
discuss
you. I'm
nothing
like,
in our
you
past. Because
don't, what do-
I'm not gonna ask them because it don't has nothing to do with what we got going on right now.
I never understood as I watched my kids grow, you know, some of the things it's like you hear, I'm like, why are y'all going back there? You
Yeah.
know, the rear view mirror it's in the back. I said
Mhm.
everything you do back there is in the past. You don't need to bring that to your future. You don't
Nope.
need to bring that to your present. it's a learning, what you did in your past was your learning experience. And it's nothing that you need to have, especially your relationship in your past is your relationship that were back there. Don't bring that relationship in your current relationship. I be wanting to like, "Ugh, don't do it. You don't do that.
Nope.
Let that be back there." So
Yeah.
that's a conversation to have that we're not having that conversation,
Mm-mm.
right? Because it's not necessary.
Yeah,
It
as
is
long as you
not.
didn't murder, as long as you didn't murder your spouse or your significant other, we can roll. Because that's the only thing I need you to bring up. Be like, I serves prison time for killing my boyfriend and my
Yeah, now, I mean, but it goes,
girlfriend.
it goes back to having the conversation, asking the right
Mhm.
questions,
That's right.
and being able to know what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. You know what I'm saying? Because you
Yeah.
ain't gonna change nobody to be anybody. You know what I'm saying? Unless they want to change.
Nope.
Always a strong believer is if you are who you are, I am who I am. I am not gonna think like you.
Yep.
You are not gonna think like me.
Yep.
So we're going to have to, look at that and kind of figure out, how we're going to embrace everything that we are
Mhm.
and
That's right.
accept that, right?
Mhm.
And accept that. So yeah, but that's good. That's some good
Mhm.
conversations. Good conversations that have to be had. Now we have other conversations that have to be had, but that's going to be on another episode, which is conversations that now that we are seasoned, we do have older children and now we have grandchildren,
Mhm.
and conversations that you should have with your children when they're younger and when they're older. Because there are conversations that we have with them now that, are totally different day and time now too, but
Mhm.
conversations that we have that we would have had with them a little different
Mhm.
back then because we've learned along the way of
Absolutely.
things to handle that we would have handled differently. But
Mhm.
now that we're grandparents, that's the wisdom that we'll be able to pass down to our
Absolutely.
children to have those
Right.
conversations with them sooner. So,
Mhm. Yep.
right?
That's it.
Yeah. So what else
Yes.
you got?
It's Sunday.
It's June 1st. I
It's
said
June
that
1st. I
it's June 1st and
know.
it's Sunday. It's almost the
It's
summertime.
Sunday. It's June 1st. The weather's beautiful outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Conversations we should have. Another
Um,
conversation we should have, I will say, is conversations about our wishes along the way as we get older
oh,
and what we're
ooh,
going to want to do.
oh.
Those are hard conversations. Oh,
I know. I couldn't,
I,
one time I didn't like thinking about that, but now I don't have a problem with it because
you
I mean,
know,
we know
yeah,
it's,
it's coming.
yeah,
When you
yeah,
get to this phase of your life, and and that's why you always say, enjoy your life. The stuff that we
mhm,
worry about now that we're older
yeah,
and we're seasoned, I wish I would have never spent the energy, time, and wasted on some of the stuff that we worried about. Because now,
right.
we look at thinking about, we're at this stretch of our life and this season, there's other things we have to think about. Our
Mhm,
parents are getting older. We're having people in our family, past friends
mhm,
that we went to school with passing away. We have those things. So now we got to think about our own wishes and what we want to do with our lives if anything happens to us. And that's a real thing. And
right.
nobody wants to think about it because everybody feels like, I don't know. I remember we used to talk about this. Pepper Rick and I used to talk about this all the time. I'd be like, we don't want to talk about it because maybe it's around the corner.
I know. It's like
Maybe it's
jinxing. Jinx.
we calling this up. We don't want to call this up.
No.
But what has it
Mhm.
happened to us is when we've lost people in our lives, we realized everything that we need to know.
Yeah.
And the conversation has to be had. You have to sit down at the dinner table. You have to sit down in a conference call with your kids and your family
Mhm.
and say, for everybody, not just you, for everybody. I mean, when I lost my brother at the age of 21, we didn't know what his wishes were, but one thing we did know is he didn't want to be an organ donor because he didn't check it off on his driver's license. But with that, I mean, I'm just saying, you just never know. And some of the things in life we know that are inevitable, that are gonna happen. Being prepared helps you be more at peace with some of the things as life happens to us. So you have to have the hard conversations. You have to have the hard conversations so that we know exactly what everybody wants to do.
Yeah, that's right.
It's tough.
It is
tough stuff.
It is, but needed.
Tough stuff, but needed. Yeah, I like that.
Definitely needed. Yeah,
definitely needed. Definitely needed.
that
So
is for sure.
This has been good. Good
Yes,
conversations.
great conversation.
Having good conversations that we should have, that are important. There are plenty more we can go.
Yes.
I know, in the months of making sure that, you talk to not just your friend, but to your spouse, to your partner, have the conversations. If there's anything that you're thinking about in your mind that bothers you, have the conversation. You just never know the response that you will get and how much of a relief it will be off of you if you have the conversation. Right?
For sure.
I know, because sometimes I sit back, I don't know if I want to talk about that right now.
I know, yeah.
But yes, we should, because the more you hold on to something, the bigger it can become. Not meaning that it's always bad. Some of these conversations are good conversations to have so that you just relief, and you have that relief from yourself to be able to have the conversation, to have it laid to bed. You know what I'm saying? I had the conversation, now it's to bed. But yeah. So what else you got, Paprika?
Oh my gosh, I think you got it all. I think we touched on it all today.
We did.
We still have a lot to touch on, though. We still have a lot
Well,
to
I would like to know what
talk about.
everybody would love to hear us touch on, because like you say, we do have a lot to touch on.
Give us some topics.
I would love some topics. We have talked about several topics along the way in our other episodes. And I know I would love to hear the topics that people have out there that they would love us to talk about. We're going to talk about our careers and, things that we have and how we've come to where we are in our life. We'll talk about our experience with that and getting to a point where we're still trying to figure out what we want to be when we grow up. That's a real thing.
That's funny you said that. When at the wedding yesterday, we went to a wedding yesterday. One of the Mickey's co-worker's wife was like, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna be when I grow up. And I'm like, I know. Isn't that something?
Everybody feels that way. You know why? Because I think each season in our life is different. So we like different things in each season of our life. Certain things that are attracted or inspire us, or like doing this podcast. We wouldn't have been thinking about doing no podcast 20 years ago. I mean, probably because it wouldn't have been out, but anyway.
No.
But with that being said, just putting ourselves in this position to be able to talk about our life. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Being comfortable enough in your skin to do things that you step out of your comfort zone to say, I'm just going to do this thing, right? So when we say we're still trying to figure out what we want to grow up, every season, there's a season, things change, and you're like, okay, well, what do I want to do now? Oh, I've accomplished that. Now I want to accomplish something else.
And it's okay, because it's never too late.
Never too late. It's never too late.
Nope.
So that we have those topics that we can talk about. We have, of course, we got to bring Mr. Wright, Mr. Duke Wright. We got to bring our Mr. Wrights in for them to share some of their experiences with us, because, they deal with us every day.
That's going to be juicy.
juicy conversation. You're gonna
Mm,
have the mixture and the sugar beer come in, and they're gonna be like, things that make you want to say, So,
mm,
but we love to share so that you can hear their point of views from a male's point of view. We love to hear your conversations too, as to how you perceive some of the things that we are talking about. We've talked about menopause. Menopause is a big thing right now with a lot of
mhm.
us that are in this season of our life. We have an episode on that. Share
Yep.
what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about there. We'll talk about those things. We've talked about what else? Oh gosh, what are the other topics we talked about?
Oh gosh, I think we touched on friendships. Um,
We talked about challenges in our life, some of the
yeah,
challenges
like,
we've
yeah.
had.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you need to go check us out. Need to go check us out. Go check us out. Come check us out. Come
Yep.
subscribe. Come like, come comment,
Mhm.
come share. Do all of those things so that we can continue to share this with you.
Yep.
Well, we've done it again.
Oh boy,
Episode 8.
indeed. Oh my gosh, we need to have a party for number 10. So
When we get to number 10, that's gonna be a party episode. We gotta bring our fans, we gotta bring
yes,
bells, our whistles.
definitely yes.
We gotta bring everything so that we can have a party for episode 10. And it's gonna be an on and popping topic. We're gonna make sure episode 10 is gonna reach the generation
Yes,
before, the generation now, and the generation to come. So we're
that's
gonna have
right.
a little bit for everybody, and we're gonna come up online so you all can be with us just like we
Yes,
did today. I think this is working out really well for us to
it
come up on
is. It's
live. I
fun.
think. Well,
Yep.
I really appreciate. We're gonna close out. You all that are on TikTok live with us, you all stay with us. We're gonna close out this recording so that we can box this up and upload this to YouTube and also to Spotify. And
Mhm.
then we're gonna jump over here so we can have a little bit of time with you guys. So that being said, Paprika, can you see us out? Can you see us out? Can you see us
Yes, can see us out, can see us out. Thank you again for listening. Thank you again for watching. If you have any ideas, if you want to just give us some good kudos and you want to just give us some pointers on what you think we should do or what we shouldn't do, just hit us up on our platforms. We got YouTube, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, and we've got TikTok. So hit us up on either one of those platforms and yeah, just happy to be here and it's great. It's great.
Yes, we're gonna keep doing this. And
Yeah.
as always, we thank God for all that He's
Yes.
done. We thank God for what He's doing, and we thank Him for what He's gonna do. Because
Amen.
without Him, we will not be here doing this today. So we thank Him for all of that. With that being said, everyone, have a good evening. Thank you for joining us.